Welcome to the Mind Games podcast. This week, we have a great mate of mine for over 2 decades. He's the Chief Sports Writer at Sydney Morning Herald, was a great sportsman in his own right, and he's one of the best blokes I know. Tom Decent. Enjoy. All right, Tommy Decent, mate, welcome to the Mind Games podcast. How you going?
Thanks for having me, man. How are you?
Mate, I'm good. We just had a bit of a catch up off camera. It's been a little bit, but we've actually known each other a long time. So I think we were working out earlier, and one of my previous guests on here, Brando, actually played that same game, but we've actually known each other for nearly 25 years, 23, I reckon, 23 years. Under 9s, under 10s reps, first game we ever played.
Yeah, many moons, bit of cricket, bit of mischief, growing up together in different parts of Sydney and New South Wales, clearly. But cricket sort of brought us together, and clearly something we bond over still. And it's been a while, man.
It is a cool piece. And even just looking back at our cricket journeys, I think everyone that's ever played cricket thinks I hate cricket. But you look at some of the people that we've met over the years, and even how lucky we were in our age group, like the current Australian captain. We've got people that have played NRL. We've probably got 12 or 13 guys that have played first class cricket. We've got yourself, who's the Chief Sports Writer at Sydney Morning Herald. People who have gone on. Kerrod's a business owner. All these guys that have gone on to achieve quite cool stuff, which I think is pretty cool with our age group. And we're pretty connected. I've met some of my best mates in the world through cricket. So, although I hate the sport, I love what it brought me in terms of life. So, that part's cool.
Yeah, I don't miss going out and fielding in the heat anymore. It's nice to have a Saturday and be able to go down to the beach. But it is funny, in my line of work, I do see a lot of the boys who we used to play with and against all the time. You look at the test squad, there's heaps of those guys we played in ones. There's, the Big Bash franchises are littered with them.
It's literally all our mates, eh?
I'll often interview some guys and then I'm like, I actually know you. I've actually had a previous life with you. Nick Maddinson, for example, did a big feature on him recently. And
that was awesome.
Then kind of afterwards, I was like, oh, hang on, I've played Nick many moons ago in first grade. So, life's moved on, but cricket's still there. And, we have interesting relationships with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, have you ever met a spinner that you rated?
There's not many.
So for context, Tom's strike rate against spin probably was about 280. He didn't like many balls that he stayed in his crease and didn't hit over the fence. So that was Tom's game.
Mate, if they're going to bowl them at your head like the quicks, why would you not take down the spinners? I was very young to charge spinners, and I didn't show them a lot of respect. There's a lot of very, very good cricketers who went on to play, for their state and country bowling spin, and I've hit them for 6. So that's not talking it up because I couldn't face the quicks very well. But
we're all scared of the quicks.
Adam Zampa once hit me in the box bowling a flipper, and I did go down one day. That's probably the one that stands out, and it hit me real bad.
So that's the one ball you've ever rated?
Yeah, and then my future housemate, Robbie Cook, was sitting at first slip laughing in a high school game. So, funny how the world works.
How good's that? So anyway, mate, that's essentially our sporting career summed up. Essentially, it's we went okay, but we ended up making great mates through it. That's probably the biggest part. From there, took up journalism. You're now the Chief Sports Writer at Sydney Morning Herald, so congratulations. That's a brand new title. How long ago was this?
Last week. Week ago.
Unreal, mate. Congratulations. That's awesome. Funny enough, the same day Eddie Jones was playing the Wallabies too.
Exactly. Yeah, we can go into that.
Yeah, we can go into that. So, but mate, talk us through journalism. Where did this passion come from? When did you understand that's what you wanted to do? When that's what come from?
Sydney 2000 was such a massive thing for us growing up. I think I was born a week or two after Australia got announced they were going to host the games. So I knew it was a big deal coming up and watching all the sport like a 7-year-old. I was just obsessed with sport like you were. I remember saying to Mum and Dad, I couldn't believe that people would get paid to watch the sport and write about it. I thought, if you're not playing or competing in the Olympics, isn't that just the dream? Sort of bubbled away, get into high school and reason what writing, and you think, well, if I'm not going to be an athlete, and I always wanted to be, clearly everyone does when they're growing up, but I was pretty realistic about it, that if I wasn't going to be doing that, what's the next best thing? Going to the Olympics, but being a reporter and having the privilege to do that. So, incredible opportunities I've had throughout the gig. When I was sort of 18, I went out to Charles State Uni in Bathurst, studied journalism out there with the one goal of basically being a sports reporter. Worked really hard at that. Never graduated uni and got a cadetship with the Herald at 20, and here I am 12 years later.
Happy days. Awesome. Well done. So did you go to the Sydney 2000 Olympics?
I did. Went to watch some tennis. Was more interested in eating the magnums than watching the tennis, but I can remember it vividly. And also during that period as well. When you speak about pinch yourself moments, like Ian Thorpe was a hero.
Yeah, I got
of
to
mine.
watch Thorpe at those games.
Well, there you go. That's amazing.
He was 17 or something, wasn't he? Yeah.
17, won a couple of goals in night one. And then a few weeks ago, I get the chance to spend an hour with Ian Thorpe at that pool 25 years on. And it's just him and I in a corner of that pool chatting about the Sydney Olympics, where he was a god. Still is a god. He gets recognised. And I do feel for him sometimes, given that he can't live a normal life after what he did. But that's the kind of pinch yourself moment stuff, full circle. I don't get overawed by celebs and sports stars that often, but there's something about Thorpe and Kathy Freeman too. The guys said that Andrew Johns and Freddie Fittler were completely mesmerised by Kathy at a function the other night because she's Kathy Freeman, right? So, Sydney 2000 was a massive part in my life, and I would love to, be able to cover Brisbane 2032 when it comes.
Yeah, that's cool. It's funny how that's the beauty of sport, right? The storytelling that comes with it, the narrative, that's what makes us all fall in love with it, and that's what brings communities together. For example, State of Origin, people in New South Wales, people that support Para, Penrith, Bulldogs, Roosters, everyone's we all go for the Blues now. And just that narrative and storytelling around it is kind of what made us all fall in love with sport, and you've actually found that the right path that you were going after, which is cool.
Yeah. People don't get people get not too excited, but they go crazy over sport. You can have huge moments in your life and you wouldn't celebrate. If Parramatta won a premiership, I would celebrate harder for that than anything in my life.
We won't need to worry about that then.
Exactly. We came close years ago. But
didn't you support Penrith after that night?
I did.
Yeah. You won 3.
Another 30 years for Parramatta to win the comp. Anyway, move on.
That was a good day. Yeah, we're going.
No, it's just people love sport, and there's always great stories within sport as well. It's a privilege to be able to speak to those athletes when it's either the best day of their life or the worst day of their life. Some days on a grand final, so it's the highs and the lows that make it so interesting.
100%. So with that, you obviously started as a cadet at the Sydney Morning Herald. Did you have some pretty good mentors at the start?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it in the car on the way here. Amy McNeilage, who was a family friend, she went to the same school. She was a few years above me at uni, and she got a gig at the Herald, and I always sort of admired what she did. And then I started as an intern. It was funny, no one at my uni wanted to do the internship there. Everyone wanted the ABC gig, and I just thought, I don't know, being on TV was the impression.
Okay.
I thought, why wouldn't anyone want to go and apply for this internship at the Herald? So I did manage to get it. Ben Cody and Ian Fuge are my 2 bosses at the time, and I did a 6-week internship during the summer holidays, and basically meant I could do whatever I wanted, go out to the Shield. Anthony Mundine, I interviewed him my second day as an intern, and you're kind of head spinning a bit that you're getting to actually get thrown out into the world as a 20-year-old and do this kind of stuff. Had some stories that appeared in the paper, got a back page story for the first time, which was a very cool experience. And then 4 or 5 months later, a cadetship comes up, and I applied for it and I got it. And they said, do you want to leave uni? Or do you want to stay and continue your studies and maybe have a go at it in a few years' time? And I was like, why would I keep studying when I studied to get a gig, get a job, and best decision ever made. So I do get paid out a bit by people that I don't have a uni degree, but I don't think it's imperative.
Yeah, okay. There you go. That's interesting. So what? Who pays you out? People you work with, or just in general, your mum? Whatever?
Just Mads, my wife.
Oh, okay.
Folks, everyone's got a degree, right? But I just didn't see the point in staying out there for another little while. I did have a university lecturer who I basically went in and said, mate, I've got this cadetship at the Herald. And he said, oh, that's amazing. Why don't you take it? I said, well, I'm not going to be able to pass uni. I've still got subjects to do. And he basically said to me, write me a 500-word report on your time there, your first 6 months there, and I'll clear the decks for 4 subjects and don't tell anyone. So he basically signed me off for 4 of them. Not the final 4 that I needed to get the degree, but also had an incredible amount of fun out there as well at Bathurst. It was a great learning curve out there, but being in the big smoke and doing all I wanted to do was just a complete dream come true. And I'll never forget that day that I got the call saying I've got a gig at the Herald.
That's unreal, mate. Unreal. Did what was that? Anthony Mundine, was that your first big pinch me moment, or was there someone else that you interviewed and you're like, holy shit, if 12-year-old Tom could see me now?
Yeah, Mundine was pretty big on day 2.
Yeah.
And he was in a bit of a prickly mood that week. And the boss was like, he hasn't talked to anyone, so you got to go out and try and grab him at this media op. He did a big interview with him and a story, and they were quite happy with that. When I was a cadet, when I was getting paid there, they sent me up to Phil Hughes' funeral. That was pretty full on, like for basically a Cub reporter to go up to Maxville and cover that funeral as well. So that was a huge learning curve, obviously given the circumstances. The people involved were still playing cricket at the time. Learned a lot about journalism in that period as well, and navigating sticky subjects and sensitive subjects as well. So yeah, probably that. And then, fast forward a few years' time, like Usain Bolt comes out when he's playing for Central Coast and we're at a presser and you get to ask him a question, or you go to a major sporting event, Michael Phelps is walking past. Like things pop up from time to time, but Thorpe was the one who made me most nervous.
Yeah, sick. Fuck, you've done some cool stuff. That's unreal. Did you spoke about I guess obviously the Phil Hughes trip or whatever you've had. What's the biggest challenges you reckon you've had breaking into journalism at the start? And then what have you found where, like, I don't know, you probably get to a point where it just starts getting easier? Is there any sort of advice on that?
I was pretty challenge free, given that I knew what I wanted to do and I was really young. I sympathise with people who get to uni and they're not 100% sure what they want to do.
Okay.
Like from basically the age of 16, I was writing reports for the local paper. I was writing for websites. Like I was so focused on what I wanted to do that when I got to the Herald at age 20 and said I would like a gig, I had this portfolio that fat of reports and stuff. So they could see I was keen and I'd practiced that craft. Kind of like, you can argue it's luck, but I also do believe that the harder you work, the luckier you become. Yep. I really do believe that.
Love
so there was a bit of that. And then in terms of once you got a foot in the door, you just work your ass off. I got sort of hauled onto, grew up playing cricket, love my rugby league, all my other sports. Wasn't a massive rugby union guy, but they basically said to me in the start of 2016, do you want to cover rugby? And I thought, it's not really what I'd thought about doing, but then I thought, why not go and do a sport that I'm not completely across, learn the trade, have it be my own, and get really good at that, and then come back into the other sports as well. And I looked at the travel schedule and it was unbelievable. So that was like the first year where I worked really hard on that, and I think it was super important.
Yeah, cool. Do you find and we can come back to that stuff, but do you find if now the new age of AI and different things, what's the question? Like, are people starting to use it more? Is it starting to replace certain journalism, or is like on camera sort of media starting to come in, or not really? Or what's your thoughts on that?
It's going to be so interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you say to an AI bot, do this for me, write this, they do a pretty good job. You can tailor it to do things, and like it is scary what it can produce like that. The only thing I'd say about AI, and it might take different forms, right? As an example, like we do blogs. I can see a world one day where AI could just write a blog in real time, where it picks up what's going on the screen, it listens to the commentary, and it could pump out a blog. I could see that happen in the next 5 years for sure. And AI will never be able to pick up the phone and ring someone. Fundamentally, journalism is about finding out information. So it will never be able to ring the boss of the Penrith Panthers asking if Nathan Cleary's hurt his calf. Just never will be able to happen. So that's why relationships are important. That's not to say that you can't then tell the bot what to do and it could write it up for you pretty well. But ultimately, like what the Michael Chalmerses of the world do in terms of finding out information, like it's all still real life and you need to find that out in person. But yeah, how it evolves and goes from there, I do think, like there'll be a lot more video work, multi-platform journalism, like the old days of just being a print hack and filing your words and going down to the pub and not being able to show any skills or podcasting or doing any of this. I think that's long gone.
Yeah, okay. But even I think your mind, mindset and all that's probably changed a little bit too. I think 3 or 4 years ago, you were like, oh no, I'm not really interested in too many podcasts. And then probably the last 12 months, 2 years, you probably got into it a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I'm pretty open-minded with it all. Like,
yeah, okay.
I always say yes to a lot of things. I know like a lot of people don't as well. Also, like talking about yourself repeatedly. No one wants to hear that every single day. So it's nice to do bits and pieces, yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So how do you, and what advice would you give people in terms of like, there's like a fine line between like managing like the integrity of it and then the access piece. So obviously like there's probably a bit of give and take. I've heard like, say, for example, Buzz Rothfield refer to it as like he's covered for certain playing managers before around certain staff, and that's why he gets certain access to certain things. And how do you manage that like fine line between like you want to continue that access, but there's also the integrity piece of like you don't want to sort of throw someone under a bus, I guess.
It's really hard. Like clearly journalists have contacts. A lot of those people are agents as well. You know, if you're going to write about someone's client and they don't think it's a fair and accurate representation, then clearly they're probably not going to give you the big interview with that athlete or tip you off into stuff. I think I'd say to athletes as well is like, it's the athletes that treat you well that are like, it makes it a bit harder to skewer them if something happens. Like if someone's being a prick, I don't have a lot of sympathy towards them. If something goes wrong, you know what I mean? But it's the guy who actually comes up and says g'day and is a reasonable bloke and is fair. And someone else said it the other day. I think it's a really interesting point. It's like, don't look at reporting as positive or negative. Look at it as fair or not fair. Like sometimes a story can be negative towards you or your club or your family, whatever. But if it's accurate, then you can't complain. Yeah. And that's all we're trying to do is just be as accurate as possible. But there's certainly games like in the industry, like often I'll get player agents who will ring me up trying to tell me a piece of information that might not be totally correct to try and drive up the price of their player. Yeah, for sure. And it's just sort of the hardest bit of what I do is also just working out what's true and what's not. Yeah. Like I'll get tips from people all the time about something and more often than not, it's not quite accurate. Like it's halfway there, which is good and it's a starting point, but our bar for accuracy just has to be so much higher because you get something wrong badly, then it's very hard to come back.
Have you ever filed anything that was horribly wrong?
No. I've been really not lucky because I would, touch wood. That's my biggest fear. Yeah. And sometimes I've written stories. I've been holding off on a story because I'm making one or two extra phone calls and someone else will break it. And you go, I probably had enough there, but no, I've been really fortunate on that front. But again, I think you make your own luck. I haven't had any bad ones. I mean, like clearly I cop a bit of flack on social media like any reporter. I mean, it doesn't compare to athletes, so I'm not going to whinge about it. But like, I get more annoyed if there's like a typo in a story or something a really minor detail in a story that is wrong. That just annoys me more than anything.
Yeah, okay. I suppose a question off the back of that, like how have you found building trust with the players and different things? Like I'm tipping that probably took, and coaches and player managers and different things. I'm tipping that probably took a little bit of time.
Yeah, depends like anything, who. You just have to be fair. You often would meet them for a coffee and generally being present as well. I think people respect you being there. Like when I started covering the Waratahs for the first season that I did in 2016, I just made a call. I'm going to be at every single training session. No matter rain, hail or shine, I'm going to be there and watch every single minute of training. Now that was a punish to do it 3 times a week, for a whole season. But every bloke on that squad saw me there and knew that I was at least, whatever I was writing, I had a very clear picture of what they were doing at training and I was allowed to be there. So it wasn't like I was spying on them. Yeah. So then that goes into Wallabies camp and I feel like, it's like the cricketers. Bharat Sundaresan is a great example. Like he watches pretty much all of net training, and that's like can be seen as a bit of a drag to do when the Aussie guys are doing, to sit behind a net for 3 hours and watch Steve Smith hit every single ball. But you know that when Bharat writes something about Steve Smith, he's watched every single cricket ball he's hit that week. So he's in a better position than anyone to do that. So I love watching nets. Not everyone likes to do it, but I think you can pick up really good cues around that. So
I think someone like you someone who's played like a lot of first grade in Sydney, like not someone who like just loves the game and potentially didn't play it at a certain level, I don't reckon they could pick up as much.
It's definitely an advantage, I feel, being able to pick up certain cues around the place and you just see things. And it just formulates how you report on it as well.
It's like, I'd probably describe it. So the advantage, like we'll call it league, the advantage, say someone like Braithen Nasta will have when he's analysing or Cooper Cronk or Matty Johns or whatever, when they're analysing a certain play, they just come with a lot more integrity, a lot more like understanding of the sport and can explain it a little bit better. So like someone like yourself coming when you're reporting on cricket from someone who hasn't played a lot of first grade cricket, I actually think you can pick up certain things that'll. Do you not agree?
No, 100%, 100%. But rugby, for example, I never played rugby.
Yeah, that's what
I will never claim to be a rugby expert. Like I'm often on stand and the guys who want to talk about rugby and the analysis of it, like I stay out of that. I stay in my lane. I can break news and I can write big features and profiles on these athletes and the issues within the sport, but you're talking X's and O's.
Yeah.
Like, I stay out of that. And I think some journos maybe try and overcook that a bit, and like understandably as well. But in this new role where I'll be going to a lot more different sports, I'll definitely be covering more league. I'm not going to pretend to be Braithen Astor because I'm not. So
That's awesome.
And
Can't
I think
wait to see ya.
yeah, but it's like Michael Chamis, right? He breaks league stories daily, but also he doesn't go into the minutiae of set plays that guys are running, and he saves that for the guys who are genuine analysis.
Yeah, he's the man at the moment, eh?
Freak. You just watch him in action, it's incredible. And he gets to a point where it's like a lot of the guys who cover US sports, the guys who've got millions of followers on Twitter, right? People come to him with the tips. That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah, awesome. Must be us. He's Syrian as well. I'm Syrian. He's Syrian. They must trust us.
Yeah, but like it's all about relations with players. The like analogy I give, it's like the guys who can like spin a basketball on their finger and then they put them on that machine where there's like 25 balls spinning at one time and you're trying to keep them all spinning.
Yeah,
that's what it's like managing contacts.
Yeah, okay.
You're trying to like keep 25, 30, 40 people on the hook at any time, just constant conversations.
100%. Because one thing you say about, so like if it's say like me, you, someone else, what you might write a story about me, which is going to be the opposite of what the other person wants. And as you said, as long as it's true, that's the biggest piece, but it might upset the other person, but it's true. And then vice versa, the next week, you might write something about the other person and I might be like, well, fuck, like that makes me look bad, but it's true. Like you just have to kind of, I guess, juggle that.
Yeah. But if you're keeping all those people on the hook, rather than cold calling them being like, what do you know? You hope that...
Oh, they're coming to you with tips.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if there's a big story in swimming or something, you hope that those people you've been speaking to for a while give you the heads up and go, this is what's going on. So
unreal. So you're finding that in the last few years that's picked up a fair bit? Definitely,
yeah. You're just trying to stay in contact with as many people, and it is about networking as much as it is writing stories itself. It is such a fascinating craft, but like league is a whole different beast.
Yeah.
I cover rugby, cricket, swimming. They're my main sports. I love league, but it is a zoo out there in league land. Like it's a whole different world, and the interest is enormous in it as well. And I just I listen to all the pods. I love the game. It's a beast that feeds off itself. It's so awesome.
Absolutely, it's just a meme sport, right? Like look at the dogs, how much like noise they make, and they're just a walking meme as of a club.
But like the Galvin stuff, I wouldn't have watched a Dogs game that whole time, but I followed that story so closely in the situation behind it. Yeah.
Were you spewing you didn't go to para?
What's that?
Were you spewing you didn't go to para?
I was okay with it.
Yeah, I'd be okay with it too.
Yeah.
Mate, with that, can you give us an idea of what's the rush like breaking a big story?
It's like nothing else.
So you can't compare it to something?
Oh, it's so exhilarating, but like...
What was the first massive one you broke?
First massive one? Geez, that's a really hard one. Can't remember off the top of my head.
Or like what's your favourite massive one you broke?
Favourite one was the morning of the Adelaide test when Pat Cummins got close contacted and was ruled out of the test.
Good work, Ryan O'Byrne.
Oh, yeah.
Can I name
Shout
him?
out. I don't know, you just did.
Yeah, I can cut it though.
Yeah, your words. No, I was in Sydney and someone tipped me off that, and like, what the world was like then.
Yeah.
Like everyone was freaking out over COVID and every minor indiscretion was a big story. And someone tipped me off that Pat was going to be ruled out of the test. And I was like, that's crazy. Rang a couple of people, put the story out, and we had it for about an hour before anyone could confirm it. And like the world just went into a bit of a spin and lent on some people to, firm up that information as well, whilst being told that it was just sort of rumours at the time. It didn't play that test and got ruled out. So that was like a big one where it blows up massively. When you put your name to a story like that and it's big and it's scary, because if it's wrong, you can't put that back in the bottle.
Absolutely. Talk me through, like, you've known Pat since you were, 10, 12 years old as well. Talk me through, like, do you ever something that big, would you fact check with him, or you just hoping it's right?
On that instance, I did.
Yeah, okay.
Probably not a secret there that I checked that. Gave me a heads up that probably on the right track. But all the info came from other people in and around the team as well. So it didn't tip me off on it for sure. Here and there, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic. He's got to do what he's got to do, and he's great to deal with as well. I think he's a brilliant captain.
The nicest bloke ever.
Nicest bloke ever. Does it for the right reasons, like incredible cricketer. But yeah, the thrill of it, of breaking a story, is also like on the flip side is scared that someone else is going to get it and having to work super quickly over time to get it, because once you like hit send on that and you nail that story, like it's always yours that you broke.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where you make your money when you're like a reporter, is you want to break stories. It can be very easy to just go to a press conference and write up a story from what someone said, or the club tells you a bit of information, but the ones who make it are the ones who break stories. And to do that is hard. Like there are some days where you won't break a story for like weeks and you're sitting there and you're like, have I lost it? Like, am I ever going to break another story?
Yeah. Okay.
And remember Crash Craddock said on a pod once that he gets more pissed off at the ones he misses than the ones he breaks. Like he could break 9 big stories and he would be more pissed at the one he missed than the 9 he broke. And it's so true.
Wow.
Which is silly, but you know in your head you can't break every story, and I'm not even close to that. But the ones you miss are the ones that burn you more than the wins.
Yeah, okay. Is it more personally it's burning you, or are you coming from like the bosses coming down on you? Or
Not so much the bosses. Like occasionally you'll get your ass kicked if
okay.
you miss a big one.
Yeah.
But they understand that if you're doing the work, you're probably going to get more than not.
Yeah.
It's just about not getting done every day. There's been times when you get done a few days in a row, and that's really not fun. But like a great piece of advice I always got was like, if you win day one, don't let rest on your laurels. Like you've got to win the next day. And if you lose day one, you can't lose day 2. So it's
never miss twice.
It's very much a big game. Yeah.
Love that. That's cool. So with like you've sort of touched on it a little bit, but like how do you kind of not get too far ahead of yourself with all that? So like you're never going as good as you think you are, and it's like when you play cricket, right? You score 100, I'm going to get a big bash contract. You just get a couple of low scores and you're like, I want to quit the game. That's big. It's a very big way to describe it with journalism. Like, how do you not get too far ahead of yourself? And then how do you not get too far back? Is it just staying to your process, or?
The good thing about what I do is it's basically a day-to-day battle. Okay. So every day you get up and you like do your best at each day, and then that's done.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter what's happened before that. You could have 3 great days and you get peaked back so quickly if you get beaten on a yarn. So it's like you don't get to stay up for very long.
Has there been a time where you thought you were killing it and something happened?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I remember going to South Africa in 2023 to cover a Wallabies tour, and I was the only reporter there. And I thought I was a reasonable chance of working out who the team was before it got announced. And that's like your bread and butter as well, right? It's like an origin squad. On that Sunday, everyone wants to know who's in the origin squad. Like all the journos are ringing up everyone, and that's the art of it, trying to convince people to tell you who's in the team first. And someone else got the team from back in Oz and beat me to it. And I woke up to like having missed the team. And I was the only reporter over there. I remember my boss being like, why did we send you? I was like, oh, fuck. So yeah, you can. Did
you have the team as well? You just didn't print it?
No.
No, you didn't? Okay.
No, I didn't have it.
Okay.
And then it's just a scramble from there to try and play catch up. But then there are certain instances where the Eddie Jones story at the 2023 World Cup, I knew no one could get anywhere near that for weeks. And that was the beauty of that story, is that I knew that no one could get anywhere near that story. So that was knowing I wasn't, it was just a great time.
Can we go a little bit into the detail of that? So you're probably better off explaining it. So talk us through from pillar to post what kind of happened, what you can say.
Basically, we got a tip that Eddie Jones, who was the Wallabies coach, was on a 5-year deal about to head into the Rugby World Cup, had done a secret Zoom interview to coach Japan. That's the easiest way to sort it out. Now, considering the rhetoric and I was one of the blokes at the airport where he had the Akuba on and went a bit feral at us and said, you don't believe we can win, and it was really bullish. So to learn from someone that he was actually wanting the Japan gig with 4 years left on his deal to run, pretty big story. So it took a while to firm that up. Obviously, once you put that out there, the genie can't get back in the bottle. You've got to be very careful from a legal perspective. So it took a while to do that, and then we dropped that the night before the Wallabies played their World Cup game against Wales, and the night that I proposed to Mad. So that was all a bit of a crazy time, and then it just was insane from there.
You didn't want to think of better timing?
Well, I had a ring over there,
Yeah.
and I was like, if I don't do it before this story goes out,
Oh, okay.
I won't get a chance for 3 weeks because my life's going to be hell because
Yeah.
it's just going to be super busy. So, funny
Mads was
story.
pretty good about it.
Pardon?
Mads was good about it.
She was great about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
cool.
was pumped. I literally sent the story. It was going up at 3 a.m. Paris time. Went out, proposed in Lyon, went and had dinner, went and met some of the journos at a bar, and they all started buying me bottles of champagne. I was with Mads and we were having a great night. And I knew this story was coming out at like 3 a.m. Sort of that's the night leading into the Wallabies' biggest game of the World Cup, and the journos were on the Terps. And I just left. I said, I've got to head off. Like we're going to spend the night together. And I didn't have the heart to tell them that this story was coming out at 3 a.m. So yeah, it was a tough old day for
Is that the biggest story of your career, you reckon?
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
the one you're most proud of?
I think so, given that like most days from then on, he publicly declared that I was effectively a liar.
I
and
know.
that the story was wrong.
Publicly going at you.
Yeah.
Talk us through going to, where were you at? Were you in Tokyo or where were you at?
In France.
No. When that,
When we
sorry,
went
you
back.
met him when he signed the Japan deal.
Yeah, so we knew for months this was going to happen. The hardest bit about that story initially was that we couldn't publish all our proof. You know, we've had some pretty like good stuff, but we obviously had to protect some people who were telling us from Japan. And then
Well, you had better than that, but yeah, go on.
And then we didn't know if he was going to get the job. The story was that he had done the interview, right?
It wasn't that he got the job. Yeah,
we weren't sure if he was going to get the gig. And I remember, I'll never forget the day we found out he was going to get the gig. We actually had a photographer camped out this hotel in Tokyo, going to pap him walking into this interview. I don't think he knows that, but he somehow missed it and went under a car park. But so then he gets the gig and it's like, oh, wow, this is real. He's obviously quit Australian rugby by this point. And then the Herald sent me over to Japan to go and see him at the press conference, and I think I said like konnichiwa already, and asked him a few questions about it. Yeah.
No, before that, weren't they like guarding, trying to not give you the mic?
Yeah, the like media woman took like 45 minutes to give me a question despite me being up the front, and then I basically just refused to let it go once I got the mic and fired away.
That's so good.
Yeah, crazy time though, big story.
Unreal. Well, so with that, like, how do you prepare for, I guess, personally and professionally for like big events like that? So, and you know, you can compare it to say Olympics or World Cups and different things. I'm tipping there's some stuff that goes into it.
Massively. Like the Olympics is a huge one. I'm spending months just researching I cover swimming. So covering all the swimmers, making sure you're at all the big meets heading into it, just knowing all their stories, the back of the back of your hand, so that when you need to file, you can. Like when Cam McAvoy wins the 50 metres freestyle gold medal, that happens in 21 seconds. And it's like, you don't have long to make a story out of that. And I know Cam's story back to front, so I was pretty proud of how we could cook that up pretty quickly. But then best laid plans can sometimes go down the gurgler. Like we were on strike for 5 days during the Olympics. The Herald and the Age, over a pay dispute, basically tools down. So we missed the first 5 days of the Olympics in France, and we were over there. So that was an interesting experience. So
Yeah, wow. Far out. That's unreal. Like, I guess personally then, how do you prepare for it? Is it a little bit extra fitness? Is it kissing Mad's feet a little bit, getting in the good books? Like, personally, before you go into a big event where you know you're going to be kind of under the pump, you're probably going to be out at restaurants most nights, all this sort of stuff. Is there much sort of prep that goes into it, or is it just something you do subconsciously?
Yeah, I mean, try and get up and go for a run. Like at least feel like you've baked something in the morning. When you're at the cricket, it's not a great environment to be working at because you get unlimited coffees, there's lunch, and then 2 hours later they bring out tea. So like your diet's not great during the day, so if you can go for a run generally. But I enjoy the battle of being on tour. Like you're over there, you're having an amazing time, but you do work really hard. Like in Sydney, you work pretty normal hours. You go home and you can go to the gym, whereas here you are like effectively on call the whole time. The Rugby World Cup in 2019, I think I worked literally 8 weeks straight, no days off, 12-hour days each. So it's full on. Whilst you might think it's a picture of fun and it's the greatest gig in the world and it's unbelievable and I wouldn't change it for the world, there are like it can be hard yakka at times. It's just hard explaining that to people when they see you abroad most of the year.
Yeah. Nah, sick. So I guess my next question's like, we kind of touched on a little bit at the start, but with journalism, it's obviously changing and changed a lot there's obviously the piece of AI and different things which we touched on, but like even in terms of when you first started, it was probably starting to happen, but it was mostly newspapers, right? Now it's your story online, and you can actually see the data behind the clicks, click-through rates, and all this sort of stuff. Are you finding it changing for the better? Are you finding it just different? Are you like, is there like, how can you give us an insight into how that's changed from your point of view from the back end?
It's changed. Like when I started 12 years ago at the Herald, there was some talk around whether newspapers would exist in 10 years' time, and they're all still around. So I guess like there is still I still think there'll always be a desire for like weekend newspapers. I don't know if that'll stay for forever from Monday to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more instantaneous now. People want their news so quickly. Like once it's on Twitter, then it's a story, and it's the role of the reporter has changed so much. But yeah, where does it go to in the future? Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely evolving. It has changed a lot. What was the second half of the question?
Just like, I guess, yes, from where you've started, are you finding it, because there is data behind it, it's not just how many newspapers are sold?
Yeah, no.
You got it?
Yeah. So online is an example, right?
Yeah.
I definitely think there are a lot of news agencies, and I, hand on heart, don't think it's us, who do clickbait. They're unashamedly clickbait.
Yeah.
They pick up stories. You know, the Herald still sends reporters around the world. Like they still invest in me to go and cover an Olympics, where there are some websites who don't. They sit in a bunker and they just rip stories.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't think that's great. I don't think athletes...
Also, you're not going to forget the best journalists doing that either, because they don't. That's not the part of the job you love, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And it's also like the athletes don't appreciate it and things can be misinterpreted if you're not there as well. But as an example, so we are judged on, clearly I can see number of clicks, but also subscriber hits. So we, the Herald, you pay for that effectively. So we are on a subscription model. We basically want to improve our subscribers. So subscribers don't cop clickbait. Like once you get clickbaited a couple of times, you think, far out, why did I click on that? This is not what I clicked on.
Yeah.
And the numbers show that people just get annoyed at like genuine clickbait in terms of what we do. So yeah, we're judged on how many subscribers we drive and sort of how many clicks we get. I still think it's really healthy. Like those numbers are growing up. I think people still go to those trusted sources for news. Like, you know who your reporters are that you can trust. Like
Definitely.
Chamis gets it right every single time. So people will subscribe to read what Michael Chamis is writing about, his analysis of the game clearly. So I do think like your own personal brand is important as well in that regard. Where does it go to from here? It might get worse in terms of clickbait and whatnot. I do love the fact that there are so many more different mediums as well. Like podcasts are fantastic. I definitely think that news sites could be better at that, integrating that as much.
So you think that's been a beneficial part of like new media?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Cool.
Yeah, and the reality is, mate, like people our age don't go and buy the paper.
Yeah.
You know, I get it delivered to my house, but I don't go buy the paper very often. You know, I read it on my phone. You know, to paint a picture, like I've got Twitter for notifications that ping on my watch for certain people because I just need to know what's going on. Like they're pinging off right now. So I get my news so quickly that I'm probably not going to go and pay $5 to buy the Australian on a weekend. That's just the reality of it. But I will want to read what Andrew Webster writes in his columns for the Australian. So I will go and subscribe online to the Australian because it's good journalism. So yeah.
So what's with? I know Webby. He was a bit of a mentor of yours at the start, right?
Yeah.
How, and obviously one of the biggest. I've met him at your wedding, so I can call him Webby, best mates. But but so how is his, like, obviously he was in your role previously. How is his role then going to continue to evolve now? Like he's probably parked the bus a little bit in terms of wanting to progress, but like you still have to adapt in terms of new school media. I know he's brought out a podcast and different things. Like how does his role, I guess, continue to evolve?
It's a great question. I mean, he writes a couple of columns a week for the Australian. Like he's the king, and people just.
What's the biggest lesson you learn off him?
When Webby writes a column, right? Like if he writes a piece, he will have rung 30 people about that story. Like this is not just a guy walking to his laptop and bang out what he thinks about an issue. He would have rung 10 NRL CEOs, 5 players, 5 like media managers. He just works so hard at all that. Like, and it does shine through when you see all that. but yeah, I mean, he's just the king. He was a great mentor for me, and he's done some incredible work. His ability to go across all different sports is amazing, and like his knowledge of league and what he's done there is sensational. But yeah, he's evolving too. Like does the podcast with Buzz, which is unbelievable. I find it awesome that they can do that together. Stuff on TV is great. He's been on SEN as well. So, I think reporters are definitely going to be more multi-platformed in the future. And like at the Herald, like I, have opportunities to work for Stan and Wild World of Sports and 2GB crosses and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, it's fast moving.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that off air. But you're someone who's very much saying yes to things in that realm, like trying to build your own profile and different things. Like I know you got a pretty big Twitter following. Is it
They're
like
all Pakistanis from the Pakistan tour I went on?
Okay.
About 6,000 of my 11,000 are Pakistani cricket fans because we went over there on the first tour back since 98 in 2022.
To UAE or whatever?
No, we went to Pakistan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Aussies hadn't been back there since 98.
Was that a bit red hot?
It was fun. There's certain bits that were a bit red hot.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel unsafe. We got pretty well looked after. Highly recommend going if you can. I'd love to go back on another tour there. But I picked up like 7,000 Pakistani cricket followers just because they're like, we're obsessed by anyone in their country covering cricket.
Yeah, wow. I suppose I guess my next question, like off the back of the Webby question, is there someone, and now you've evolved into that sort of chief sports writer role, like are you finding you're evolving into more of a mentor space now as opposed to a mentee? Like these are young guys within the EC coming through?
Yeah. It's hard though because a lot of young reporters come to me and want a gig, want a job, and I don't like about gigs. Yeah. I know how hard it is to get a gig because I was there 12 years ago and it's probably even harder now, particularly to do the things that you want to do. Like when I came in a year into the gig, I was, getting sent to cover rugby around the world. I went to Papua New Guinea with the Prime Minister's 13, which was just awesome experience. But now it's becoming harder and harder, and like newsroom budgets are shrinking as well. That's no secret as well. Yeah, I definitely try and help out where I can. Did a UNSW talk the other day to a few uni students about journalism. So I do my best. I'd like to think that I'm a bit of a mentor at times, but also I'm so flat chat with stuff that I sometimes feel bad that maybe I don't do a bit more. And,
yeah, okay.
But like it is a bloody hard industry to crack into, and unless you are like fully committed, like my journalism lecturer day one of uni basically said, if you're not fully serious about this, then fuck off, was his words.
Love it.
Yeah, and I was keen. I was all in.
Yeah,
but
a few people.
Half the room probably just walked out after and said, like, this is probably not for me, and it was good advice.
Yeah, sick. Is it like, what's the most misunderstood piece of sports journalism, you reckon?
That journos make stuff up.
Okay.
Like,
if no one will actually just make something up, there's something coming from a tip, and they've either not verified it correctly, or if they get it wrong.
That's a very generalised thing, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, just the average punter on the street would say, "Oh, journos just make shit up."
Yeah, okay.
Couldn't be further from the truth. Like, if you get something wrong, like as I said, you don't get that back.
Yeah.
People remember that, and so like you're judged on the ones that you do get right. You might get your facts slightly halfway, but yeah, it's about making sure that you're right. I'd say that's the biggest misconception as well. I'm trying to think what else, and probably that journos have like agendas and are genuinely out to get people as well. Like, that's just not accurate either.
It's not. A big piece of that is like, where would the sport be without the stories, right? The storytelling is the bit that makes us all fall in love with it. We talked about it at the start. But like, without journalism, without when all parts of journalism, like podcasts, newspapers, television, whatever, that the sport isn't followed, the sport isn't watched, and that's the biggest piece of it, in my opinion.
100%. Athletes need to remember that the reason they get paid so much money is because of the interest in their sport, and that's driven through the media. Mm-hmm. Like, when they treat reporters like shit and don't want to talk to them, they forget that their pay packet is generated by a broadcast deal, which is generated effectively by interest in the game.
100%.
And the reporter is the conduit to the athlete and the fan. When a fan wants to know whether Mitchell Moses is coming back next week, like, that's because that they get that information from the reporter who has the privilege to ask that question.
Totally agree.
So this is not just reporters being narky and annoying. This is because there are millions of people out there who are genuinely interested in these athletes. And the media are able to tell their stories as well. It's like, And some athletes buy into that. Some athletes treat the media with respect and are like, you know what, I'm going to help them where I can and try and get my message out there. And there are some who shun it. And more often than not, the guys who are open-minded about that end up in the media one day.
Yeah, I love that. So what, speaking of interest in the media, R360, massive, I guess, new concept that's coming through. People comparing it to live golf, people comparing it to Big Bash cricket, people comparing it to the F1, different things that sort of happened in different sports. What insights can you give us from a rugby point of view?
What do you want to know? From a rugby perspective, there are definitely guys who are involved in the Wallabies who have...
So it's a real thing?
At the moment it is.
Okay.
The R360 guys aren't giving away a lot to agents and players. Probably more... I can understand why. There'll be more in the weeks to come for sure. There are guys in Australian rugby who have signed letters of intent, who are ready to go.
League as well?
Yeah. There will be guys who go on big money. I mean, there's guys in English rugby who have, there's whispers around who they've jagged. Whilst names are, it's a bit hard to name guys at the moment, but do I have my doubts? Yeah, like somewhat, but also it's been bubbling away for a while. This isn't a Mickey Mouse comp. This is like big boy money. Legit. And these investors want to make money.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it might have a shelf life. Like I do think it could last for 5 to 10 years maybe, but there'll be a massive movement potentially once the competition gets running and that money ends up in bank accounts because players are just sort of waiting, watching Rugby World Cup in 2027.
That's what I was about to say. Do you think it's weird timing with the World Cup in 2027? Like, why would, if rugby, like Rugby in Australia, NZRU, all these corporations aren't necessarily backing it. So they're more so, saying you're not going to play in our World Cup team if you're playing it. Do you think it would be better timing the year after?
I actually think it's clever because they'll get the comp up and running in 26.
People will see it.
People will see it works. Play the Rugby World Cup in 27 and then leave.
Okay.
Because they know that the comp, like there's always trepidation about joining a rebel league that they don't know is 100% legit and they're going to get paid. But if they see that there are guys who are playing in this comp, they know what it looks like and their mates are getting paid, like then that's when the floodgates open as well.
Yeah. For sure.
And I also do think on that note, it's incumbent on the NRL, Rugby Australia to pay these guys more. Like I don't begrudge any player for wanting to maximise their earning capacity. Like the NRL should be looking at this as a genuine threat and saying, hey, can we chuck in another $10 million on each salary cap to try and prop up these guys and keep these guys in the code? If they're so worried about it, then why don't they just pay like a bit more cash?
Yeah, wow. Do you think is it purely cash or is it like the fact that they own their own IP, all these sorts of things that like in the NRL they don't do? So like, for example, an NRL player can't just go source like a million third-party deals. They have to be like there's certain ramifications around it, and even can't make money through their own social medias and different things to a certain extent. Like, do you think that's a big piece of it?
Yeah, for sure. Autonomy is good. Like they can go and float around. The tax-free money, obviously, which has been flagged. I think there'll be a few problems in some of that to come. In fact, they're not going to have to train a lot. Like this talk that they're just basically going to fly in, fly out of these cities and play. So again, I personally don't think that competition will ever be that great to watch.
Okay.
Can't ever see it getting to a world where I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night and want to watch it.
You might be covering it.
Might be covering it. The listening, R360. Happy to go. No, I'm just kidding. Imagine that though. It'd be
I'd
fun.
be coming on your jet.
It'd be fun to go and cover and see what it's all about.
Yep.
But I don't think the standard of rugby will be great because international rugby will always be there and the big boys will always want to play it. But I would say the women's game, that's where the money's at.
Yep.
Like they're talking about parity there eventually. And I think the Australian women's rugby players will get picked off a lot. And I think that if that gets more money for women's rugby, that's a massive win.
Absolutely.
And NRLW. They might pick those girls off too.
Absolutely. Because there's some of those, that's starting to become really good to watch, the NRLW.
Yeah.
Like the standard of that's now unreal. Like the Gillaroos the other day against Samoa, they're unbelievable.
Amazing. I mean, I've covered a lot of women's rugby sevens, and so many of those players go across to NRLW. Like they're just Jesse Southall is just unbelievable.
Crazy,
they're so good to watch.
The skill level's unreal. That's cool, mate. I guess what's finally like what does success mean to you now as a journo?
a good question. I mean, I've had 11 or 12 years of doing it, keep breaking stories. I love writing big features, getting people to trust me to do that. I do love traveling around to the major sports and big events. There's still a few I'd love to tick off. Doing an away Ashes series would be cool. Wimbledon would be fun. The Masters.
Have you
would
not
be
done an
sick.
away Ashes tour?
No. Yeah, I would love to do it in 27.
Happy days.
But yeah, like ultimately just servicing our readers, and I think that I've built up enough trust with them. And yeah, Chief Sports Writer role is a massive role, but yeah, keen and always open to story ideas as well. And people, yeah, it's just a privilege to be able to help people tell their stories.
Yeah, awesome. What's long-term goal as a journo? What's the end game? Well, it might not be an end game, but where do you hope to see the career end up?
Kind of where I'm positioned now. I think Brisbane 2032 is like 7 years from now. That's like not the end goal, but that's like what we're all working towards, I guess. Did Paris Olympics, which was amazing, and first games there. So to be involved in that team, hopefully, and still enjoying it as well. Yeah, that would be a big goal as well. And then maybe see what's on the horizon after that. Definitely love to do more TV and radio stuff as well. I think I can do a role there. Podcasting as well. Just see where it takes me. But like, I'm so lucky to be able to travel the world and write about sport and talk about it and get paid to do it and follow the shield and not have to do it sneakily on my laptop at work. It's just, yeah, it's great.
Love it. So could you just go start a podcast tomorrow, or it has to be through?
Yeah,
work?
yeah, I probably could.
Yeah, okay.
I probably could. Like, we've got certain podcasts at the Herald that I chime in on here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there would be nothing stopping me doing that. I mean,
Okay.
like Webby did that with Buzz, right?
Yeah.
Which is an incredible product. So yeah, I guess there would be nothing stopping me. But it's a lot of work as well. And it's also what you get out of it as well.
100%.
And,
It's more so just boosting your profile, right?
yeah, I actually prefer. Well, yeah, you would just have. I mean, there are just so many good podcasts out there as well, right? And it's about working out what your niche would be.
100%.
And I also like playing golf in my spare time. So
How is the golf going?
Not bad. We're getting better. Yeah, not
Would
bad.
you beat me yet?
What's your last round?
A lot.
No, I wouldn't be beating you now. But, I've been hitting heaps of balls, so
Love it.
I'll try and take my clubs wherever I can around the world. So.
Yeah, cool. We'll have a hit soon. Mate, this has been great. I've really enjoyed picking your brain about this. I've got 3 quick questions at the end. 16-year-old Tom walks through the door now. What are you telling him?
Oh, just tell him that it's going to be all right and it's going to be a wild, fun ride, and that being able to be a sports reporter is a real career, and it's not just a dream, and that if you work hard enough at something, it'll come.
Unreal. What's your go-to cheat meal?
I would say a pizza with heaps of meat on it and a cheesy garlic bread.
It's definitely not one pizza. I've
No,
seen you eat like 4.
Yeah, I haven't. Did eat 4 at the Berry one night.
You did it at Pab too, didn't you?
Yeah, one's not enough generally, but you want to.
I love it.
Yeah, if you have the garlic bread, then it kind of makes up.
Yeah, no, fair. Mate, last question. What's your dream golf foursome? So you and 3 others at whatever golf course you want, you can pick that as well. I'm carrying the bag, so you can't pick me. I use that joke on everyone. But
Alive?
Let dead or alive, whoever you want. Can be anything. Get some really interesting answers here.
Oh, I think you'd have to go Tiger, Warren, and that's a good question. Trump.
You're the second person that said Trump.
It'd be so interesting.
Bro, imagine how entertaining it'd be watching him just throw balls out of his pocket and shit.
I've been watching the series where Bryson plays with him.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. 50. Yeah, I don't rate him, but like it'd be so interesting. Secret Service hanging around, like
oh mate,
watch him like move his ball into the hole.
That's a 3.
Yeah.
Birdie. Anyway, mate, this is unreal. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, so mate, good luck on your run tomorrow, and we'll catch up again soon. Cheers.
Thanks, Mitch.